I can't believe it. It's finally here. That's right. The new book, Measurable Results, just arrived, and I'm so excited to talk to you about it today. The great thing about Measurable Results is it takes our marketing strategies that we've been building for 6.5 years and crystallizes them into 3 basic tactics that all can be measured in a way that you know your marketing spend is working for you. Hi there, I'm John Arnott, and in this video I'm going to talk a little bit about the 3 things that go into measurable results. So stay tuned for that. The first, your presence. What is your presence? Well, the presence can be broken down into 3 things. That's your website. On your website, that's the first place people land when they're learning about your brand or your business. That website has to be designed to convert. That is designed to get somebody to take an action. What is that action? Well, it depends on your business. But there are some key metrics that you always must be monitoring on your website. The first one is simply visitors. How many people are coming to the site at any given month? Is that growing over time? Are these new visitors or are these existing visitors coming back to see more? The second thing is when those visitors get there, are they staying or are they immediately leaving? That's called bouncing. Are they bouncing off? Are we tracking the bounce rate? Because we want to get that as low as we possibly can. And if that bounce rate is high, we need to find ways to make the website more compelling to that visitor. But when they do stay longer, the next thing we want to measure is how long are they spending on the site? Time on site is a critical metric. If somebody is spending 30, 40 seconds, that's a lot different than if they're spending 4, 5, 6 minutes on the site. When we work on all of those metrics, growing visitors over time, making sure they don't bounce, and then expanding them so that they spend more time on the site, well, then we have a really good way to analyze the performance of that site. Now, I mentioned social media. Your social media presence, for some businesses, it's just something that you have to do. It's almost like your admission ticket. You have to have a social media presence just to prove that you're a going concern. But for other types of businesses, well, that is the heartbeat of your business. Continually posting, continually sharing, continually being a resource for your clients, your customers, your patients. That's what your social media is supposed to be doing. And that social media presence gets measured through engagement. We want to see how many people are sharing what's coming off of your social media. We want to see how many people are clicking through what you're posting onto your website or your blog post or your videos or other things you're creating. That social media presence and what we measure is very important as well. And the final third component of your presence, well, those are your reviews. Whether you are in Yelp or Angie's List, Healthgrades, or some other review site, we want to make sure that the reviews that you're getting are good, yes, but that they're plentiful. If you go to Google My Business and somebody has 5 stars but only 1 review, you might be hesitant. But if you go and you look at a brand and on Google My Business, they have 4.5 stars but they have 290 reviews, well, that's a lot more meaningful. So that third component of presence that we always must monitor and measure is around your online reviews and the channels that are appropriate for the type of business that you run. Next, well, now that you have a great presence and you know how to monitor if it's working for you, you need leads. You need leads coming in the door, leads visiting the website, leads picking up the phone and calling you. And these leads, well, they come through different channels. If you are an established brand, you probably have an established, sustainable stream of leads. But if you're a young business, you might need some quick leads just to get going. And so we break leads down into 2 parts and we measure them differently. The first are quick leads. Quick leads are just what they sound like. They're leads that come in the door as soon as you get started. And what are these? Well, they're paid advertisements. But there are 3 types of paid advertisements, 3 types of quick leads. The first one are search. If somebody goes to Google, they go to Bing, they have intent. They do a search. Well, those intent-based ads we call quick lead search. And those are really easy to measure. You are putting your brand out there as a solution based on that searcher's intent. And if they see something that resonates with them, either they're going to call the number on the ad or they're going to click the link to go to the website and spend some time there. Again, that's why presence is so important. But those quick leads, they can be complemented. You can complement a quick leads in search engines in Google and Bing with social media, quick leads social. And in the social media side of things, we can target specific demographic profiles and we can target specific behaviors with our ads, but we can also do something even more important. We can retarget those that have engaged with the brand. Here's the scenario. You are running your quick lead search. Somebody searches, they go to your website, they spend a minute, they spend 2 minutes there, they don't call you, they don't fill out a form, they don't do anything. They've been to the website. Now what? Well, with retargeting and quick lead social, on their social media channels, we can now have your brand advertising. So once they've arrived at your site, then we can continue keeping your brand in front of them through social channels. Now the third type of quick leads, well, those are display. You ever go to a site like, I don't know, Home Depot, and then it seems like you see their ads everywhere you go? Well, that's an extreme example of quick leads display. Display targeting so that when somebody goes to your website, somebody engages with your brand, they see ads through other channels. They go to different websites and they will see branded ads. We call those display. And quick leads are how a business gets going. If you don't have any sources or any real channels of leads, you want to engage in paid strategies like quick leads. But ultimately, all businesses want sustainable leads. They want leads that come in the door no matter what they do. And the easiest way to get sustainable leads, or at least the easiest way to understand them, is through SEO, or search engine optimization. And that's a tricky word, because it's easy to say, I want to be visible in Google. I want to show up in the first 10 results in Google. But it's much more difficult to do. And it requires you to have patience and an amazing content strategy. You need to be building content that is the type of content that your visitor would engage with, but also that Google feels is relevant to that type of visitor. And that content strategy drives your search engine optimization. You get your quick leads because you need people calling and ringing the phone right away. But you do your sustainable leads through SEO because 12 months, 18 months down the road, you want the phone to ring no matter what happens. If you are just getting going, you're going to start with quick leads, but you would likely need to invest some budget in a sustainable lead strategy. You should invest some budget in your content marketing strategy that drives to sustainable leads down the road. Now, with all these leads coming in the door, whether they're quick leads or they're sustainable leads, you have to have a way to nurture them. You don't want to go through all the effort of have a great presence and then to pay to have leads come in the door only to not follow up with them. And that's what nurture marketing really is. It's follow-up. It's follow-up through different channels. It's follow-up through email, automated series of emails that come out. It's follow-up with sharing content and sharing useful information for your potential customer, client, or patient. It's also follow-up through social channels, posting things that are relevant to that customer, client, or patient. Sure, in a perfect world, everybody who calls is an immediate sale and it's done. But that's not usually how it works. Oftentimes people call, they ask a question, or they want a quote. They engage with you somehow to kick things off, but they may not necessarily close at that point in time. That's where nurture marketing comes in. And nurture marketing can be broken down into 3 parts. And these 3 parts are defined by the type of lead they are. There are information qualified leads, marketing qualified leads, and sales qualified leads. And we label these within a funnel based on how they are interacting with your brand. For example, when we're measuring the results of our nurture campaigns, if we're looking at sales qualified leads, that's somebody who's raised their hand and says, I want a proposal, I want a quote, I want to know how much it's going to cost to work with you. Well, those sales qualified leads can be measured by a close rate. Every time a sales qualified lead comes in the door, every time you have an opportunity or write a proposal, what is the percentage of those that close? That's a really important metric to measure the effectiveness of your sales team. But what about when a lead is interacting with your brand, but they haven't asked for a proposal, they haven't asked for a quote, but they are clearly showing interest in what you do? Well, we call those marketing qualified leads. And marketing qualified leads, they get nurtured over time. The nurturing, that could take a couple of days, that could take a couple of years. The key is to keep your brand in front of that marketing qualified lead on a consistent basis over time, so that when they are ready for your service or they are ready for your therapies, that they think of you first because they've seen your brand and they think of your brand as authoritative and trustworthy. And it's that point that that marketing qualified lead converts into a sales qualified lead. But how do I measure my success of marketing qualified leads? Well, the first measure, of course, is the conversion rate from marketing qualified lead to sales qualified lead. How good are my marketing activities? If my marketing activities are working well and my nurture campaigns are working well, I will probably have a higher conversion rate of marketing qualified to sales qualified. But if they're not working so well, that number will be a lot lower, which leads to the very top of the funnel. And that's an information qualified lead. That's one that somebody's tire kicking. They visited the website, maybe they filled out a form, maybe they've interacted with your social media a little bit. They're just kind of looking around. They don't really need what you offer right now, but they are interested enough to do some research. We call that an information qualified lead. And we try to get those to move fairly quickly from information qualified into marketing qualified so that we can put them in the right channel for our ongoing nurture marketing strategies. So let's tie the whole thing together. You have your presence. You're driving leads to it. Those leads come in, they share their information, and then you're nurturing them along. And you're nurturing them through a funnel from information qualified to marketing qualified to sales qualified to a new customer, client, or patient. And that's how this is intended to work together. And everything you do, whether it's your presence, whether it's your leads, or whether it's your nurture, has components that you can measure. When you get a chance, look at the link below in the show notes, click on it, and you can go pick up a copy of Measurable Results. I'd love to hear what you think about this strategy. Put a comment below. If you like what you saw, I'd appreciate a thumbs up. That would be great. And if you want to hear more detail and more depth about each of these components, click the subscribe and the bell. That way, the next time I post a video on one of these topics, you'll know about it. Look forward to talking to you in the next video.